Goreson is going to be that first boss he has to defeat, although now Goreson still is making a feat on his own. Why don't we throw it over to the match and see who's going to be coming out on top and going home?
All right, so the first question, of course, was going to be, will we see the Empoleon? But we haven't seen the Empoleon all day from Jukem. It looks like he's really committing to this Sceptile, which, of course, I love watching the Empoleons, but the Sceptile has been his main, the one that's really carried him as far as he's gone. And this is also the matchup that we did see again against the Wingtide, or against Wingtide in the previous Players' Cup, which I just have to keep bringing up because it is so relevant, considering the fact that Goreson and Wingtide play together frequently, or at least used to.
Yeah, you know, and that's that matchup knowledge too that, you know, Jukem is going to have to keep into consideration here going forward, though he's having no problem keeping Goreson up in the air, closing in that gap, and now keeping Goreson stuck against the wall to get that grab going forward, and now is going to be able to still build up into that conversion. It's going to be a lot of damage onto Goreson, but we've seen before Goreson having no problem reversing that damage output backwards.
Ooh, and goes for the 6x to tech the Giga Drain, which is one of the only moves in the game that will tech it and also hit it if you make the correct read. But look at that, the damage has equaled up already. In fact, even more than equaled up. Jukem is going to have to use his burst after just being hit 2 times, but he's not going to get hit again for sure. Single jab into burst attack is a pretty common thing to see from Sceptile, and it works out a lot, including this situation as he's going to take the first round. But overall, we did see a little bit of how he likes to play that matchup. He generally goes for a lot of resets once he gets Machamp at the wall. He doesn't like to reset the neutral because there's just so much of an opportunity that Machamp can bring things back to his favor.
Yeah, especially with that damage that we've seen, of course. And now this is the perfect situation that Goreson wants to keep Jukem in right now against that wall. Jukem, though, making sure that he could reverse that, putting himself in a better positioning, and now keeping Goreson up against that wall. But you have to consider the burst meter that Goreson does have online for himself if he does need to pull a trigger here. Seeing that the first round already advantage goes into Jukem's favor, he is going to utilize the burst and now tries to find a way to close in that gap. I like the way that Jukem, though, managed to drift back on purpose. He wants to give some of that spacing to not allow Goreson to close it in. And look at all the damage coming forward. He has the burst meter himself. He's going to pull the trigger on it, and he's going to wait for the opportunity before he can try to pull out the burst attack. He could shield him. No, he doesn't. He's right close in range for that, and that's going to be a wipe.
I truly don't understand how Goreson is so good at knowing when to do raw burst attack, but seriously, he has like a 75% correct guess rate on that. He just conditions his opponent so well, and it happened again, even against the world champ.
Savage right there. Of course, when you're living in your opponent's head rent-free right now, Goreson just does a really good job at making sure he can pull the trigger off of it, especially knowing that radius too, and he wasn't able to catch Jukem. Although right now, Jukem instead opening up pretty strongly right here, forcing out the block, and though stuffs out Jukem's approach with that defensive option, pulls trigger on that first 2, and keeps Goreson up in the air. Now he's going to be able to have that position advantage on his side, as well as have Goreson with that defense debuff sniping to try to get that follow-up though, and now he's going to be able to try to close in that gap to be able to get more of that extra damage onto Goreson.
Yeah, he was trying to control him in the corner, realizing he was going to try to fight out, and this is a scary place. This is how it starts. At least there's a little bit of space for Jukem to back up, but that wall into this hit, look at that. Life lead immediately going back to Goreson. Burst is available for both players, Mew is available, and that just means that basically any single hit here, is going to do it. Sceptile in field in burst is extremely strong. That's one of the reasons right there, Dragon Breath. You know, he just needs to find one more hit, but yep, burst to burst. Of course, it's going to end that way. This might punish, and it will. He catches the dash forward, wasn't able to cancel into anything to become safe. And that is going to be game number 1.
I like how Jukem right there was actually saw that window of opportunity coming in from Goreson, knew that Goreson wanted to close in that gap to get aggressive, but the moment that he called in that burst, Goreson unfortunately was not ready to put up a defensive option. And now going on to game 2 though, Goreson down this game, Jukem though putting himself up in the lead, although Goreson's job at taking full utilizations over Machamp's comeback factor.
Yeah, I mean, that really is, he's so good at playing from behind, right? Like, he steals back the life lead almost every single round at some point. But right now, it's Jukem that's going to be stealing back the life lead. He's going to charge 5x, which is going to counter Pierce. Really good against Machamps that really like to try to throw a lot of counters, which is a pretty common thing. Yeah, we saw it in fact again right there. Oh, but here we go. Oh, drops the conversion. That's pretty big, especially considering the fact that he got the defense down deep up on him from the 8Y. Oh, no. There we go. One more hit's going to be it after this. And of course, it's not going to chip phases. He's still in duel. Scary spot.
Such a scary situation to be in right now. He forces Goreson out, and now with the Snivy to follow. He could finally get some breathing room here too. But now Goreson wants to make sure he could seal the deal, but he kept himself in the air, and Jukem was ready to punish him for it. He still has that Breaker online and the debuff to counter that as well. Although now coming in, did he hold shield there? No, he didn't. He actually let go right on time, and Goreson, he keeps doing it, Chef. He keeps living rent-free in their minds, and he's continuously able to pull it off with this burst attack.
At this point, I would simply hold block the entire time that Goreson has burst. Let him grab you 4 times in a row. I just don't want to be hit by that burst attack raw again. And he's just hitting it over and over. He just makes you want to let go of block. He makes you want to jump. He makes you want to throw out attacks, but it's just never the right answer. And right now, he's already taken a huge life lead. And aside from the fact that he's already up 1 round in this set, Jukem, though, does have burst. Oh, no, that's it. I think that's it, right? Oh my God, look at that damage. That is, yeah, submission, especially when it gets a critical, is just way too much damage. I mean, you see Jukem, he had full meter. He was like, oh, I've got time. I can get hit 1 more time before I have to spend my bar. Unfortunately, that was not the case for him. But Goreson looking very strong in that last game, and we might be seeing another close one.
Especially now that we have it tied 1-1. Goreson's made some of those adjustments right now, closing things up here, and Jukem getting that first hit in, and Goreson's going to be having this advantage being up close to Jukem, and that's where you're going to see a lot of that damage coming out the Shine, and having that speed debuff over onto Jukem is going to be lethal in trying to get out of this position right here, because Goreson now is going to be able to try to close in that gap, push all the way in, and with this Vocal, he's going to be able to do a lot of that extra damage.
Yeah, Jukem, though, just playing a very safe field phase, trying to see if he can find a big opening. Unfortunately, does not. Goreson playing so well, and he's going to get the cross-shot conversion. Oh, goes for a submission cancel. He can really land anything right here. Oh, this is going to be so tough to make this damage back. Manages to hit through the Leaf Blade. Doesn't have a lot of counter frames. It's vulnerable a lot of the time. And the Jump X is going to do it. That has worked so well for him in the past. Machamp's air game, actually, weirdly enough, one of the scariest.
It is actually really great of an anti-air that we had just seen right there from Goreson to stop Jukem's approach and trying to get into a better position. Since he was a little scared right there, playing a lot more defensively. He has that burst, though, in a great opening right here, as Goreson also has his own burst to match to get out of this situation. See Jukem now opting to go off and trying to actually put in some of that space away from Goreson, but Goreson now immediately retaliating back, swapping it right back over to dual phase and closing that in. And here comes Jukem, though, being able to tack on some of that extra pressure, as well as swapping it right back over to the field phase so he could shine.
Yeah, trying to trap him in the corner. Okay, I was going to say not doing a great job of it, but still manages to find the opening from him trying to escape. So essentially that game plan worked. And we are going to see the burst. Wow, what a good challenge. Using that full screen Giga Drain, which is of course a big risk in this matchup, but you can see how long these combos can last. And that's really going to allow him to spend a lot of this burst from Machamp and just make sure that it's gone. Oh, he's going to be able to block this in time.
Oh, he was ready for him too, and you still have Goreson that can utilize his burst, and he catch him on the ground. Oh no, he's right over it, right before he landed. That was so close. Can you imagine right there, Goreson feeling himself, but instead Jukem, though, was in the perfect positioning right there and was able to reverse the situation to get that punish and take that round.
Yeah, that was, I mean, if it was any other character, almost any other character, that probably would have been an opportunity to land in the burst attack. But Sceptile, one of the best at being able to hold himself in the air. Oh, good call out right there, countering the charge 6X. Of course, that won't pierce armor even if you fully charge it. And another Giga Drain. I'm thinking that Jukem is starting to see the Giga Drain as a good option here.
He's been able to really take full control using that Giga Drain and forcing out this approach option from Goreson because he knows that Goreson wants to close in this gap. And at the same time, Goreson's been doing a good job of holding that more defensive play style. And now whenever he's up close, this is where he does the most lethal damage. Jukem wanting to get out of this wall, though. He does manage to get that mix-up and get across around Goreson. At the same time, though, Goreson, he's playing extremely defensive and making sure that these leeches aren't going to deal enough damage. And now finding this mix-up and trying to tack on some of the extra pressure, he calls in mute here, and now just tries to get in some of that extra burst that he will need to close out this game.
Oh, but this is going to be an anti-air, and this is... Oh, no, the phaser points are already really high. I highly misjudged that. That was really not much that he could get right there. And now Goreson is just one hit away, and yeah, the forward Y infield is going to be enough, working out as a classic anti-air, and he just wasn't able to build synergy in time. That was such a big deal. If he got that burst, we've already seen that Goreson is so good at using burst, so good at knowing how to make the comebacks with the threat of that burst, and he just would have had a great chance for it, but he didn't. He never built the meter, and so you never got to see that. And so now, just one game away, and Jukem will be knocking him out of the tournament.
Yeah, at the very end right there, you saw like he really wanted to rely on that meter, but unfortunately, he played aggressive and trying to get close to Jukem. He didn't want the Jukem to actually have some of that extra space to work with and to deal with some of that chip damage. And now Jukem opening things up pretty strongly. Jukem overall just needs to take this game to progress through that lower bracket and send Goreson home, but Goreson's been doing such a good job at keeping Jukem at bay, but right now Jukem instead not only gaining some momentum, but keeping Goreson trapped.
Yeah, this is where he loves to play this matchup, but now he's the one who's in the corner, gets another pickup, though. I don't think it's going to be enough. Oh, maybe it is, actually. The defense down debuff him a lot, and that was enough. Plus, on top of that, he managed to combo into a Giga Drain so that he was able to steal some of that synergy meter going into match point.
That's going to be crucial, too, because he's going to be able to have some of that burst going forward and having it all at the ready already with Goreson now having to try to claw his way back into the advantage that he once had is slipping away with Jukem now, keeping Goreson at bay, keeping him against the wall. I like this drift back in the spacing that we're seeing currently, but Goreson tries to force his way out with Jukem stopping him short. He still has that first meter to work with as well as so much damage that he's tacked on. The Lapras to force out the shield. He doesn't get a grab, instead he goes in for the anti-air, and the grab coming in right now. Chef Jukem is looking like he's absolutely on fire with a lot of that momentum built up for him.
Oh yeah, he's got every resource that he needs. He's gonna land the grab, and now just any single hit, which is gonna be so hard to avoid. A big read and the trap. Oh no, doesn't get the conversion. He just needed the 2Y, but he's gonna use the 2Y anyway a little bit later, and Goreson is going to be eliminated from the tournament. He was doing so well, but just a few too many rounds didn't go his way, and sometimes that's all it takes when you're playing against a player like Jukem, player of that caliber. Sometimes it just happens.